jina langu juu ya kidonda. Nilikosa sauti, nikameza kilio, nikabeba siku hizi kama jiwe kifuani. Lakini bado nipo, bado na hema, bado naona mwanga ukinipitia. Pole pole najisogeza mbele, pole pole najijenga tena. Usiku huu si wa mwisho, moyo wangu bado unataka kuota. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Najifuta leo, nainuka tena. Kesho mpya, naanza tena. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Nafungua njia yangu. Nilidondoka chini, dunia ikanyamaza. Watu wakapita, nikabaki na kivuli. Lakini ndani yangu kuna cheke ndogo, haiwezi kuzima na upepo wote. Nilijifunza kusimama bila kushika mkono, kusikia moyo kinambia usikate tamaa. Kila kovu langu ni ushuhuda kwamba maumivu haya yakunimaliza. Machozi yanatiririka, kimya usiku wa giza. Nalia moyoni pole, nikijificha na maumivu haya. Lakini najinyanyua, najifuta machozi yangu. Kesho ni mpya tena, naanza safari yangu. Nilidondoka chini, dunia ikanikataa. Lakini ndani yangu kuna moto hauzimiki. Ninainuka juu, napaka matai angani. Kwa tumaini jipya, nitaangaza gizani.
Yes, peace and love, wonderful Black HotFire family. Welcome to Swahili classes for the weekend. I do hope that your weekend is coming up just fine. Today being on the 6th day of the month of June, the year 2026, I want to welcome you to another wonderful broadcast where we get to connect and learn Swahili together as a family. We do say tujifunze Kiswahili, and which is let us learn Swahili. Let us learn Swahili. And we also do say karibuni sana, which is much welcome. So I want to take this particular opportunity to welcome you so much to this particular platform. In case you're joining us for the very first time, I want to say thank you, asante sana, which is much thanks, and make sure to be with us. And I hope that you enjoy the ride. As always, we get to connect and engage in learning Swahili. And today is no different. So we are looking forward to having an interactive as well as an engaging show, where you can ask a question, where you can share your opinion or a suggestion or a view. It doesn't matter. You can always feel free to interject, maybe ask a question or maybe make an observation. That would actually be very, very much helpful, because that helps me understand that we are in the same page, or we are on the same page, or maybe perhaps that you are understanding what we are talking about right here on the platform. So feel free, feel much welcome. And we do have our notes for Swahili, which we get to use. In case you want to get a copy of the notes, you can write to me, blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. And once you do, I will see your mail, and I will send you a copy of those particular notes, so that you are able to also engage and also study using those particular notes. My name is Fikes. And I played you a song at the start of the intro, or the start of this particular segment. And the name of that particular song is known as Machozi. Machozi simply means tears. If someone is crying, we do say analia, which is he or she is crying. If someone is laughing, we do say anacheka, because the verb for laugh is cheka and the verb for cry is lia. But the name of that particular song is Machozi, and Machozi simply means tears. So if someone says alibubujikwa na machozi, it simply means they do really shed tears, and that is exactly how it is. It is actually a love song, but it is also a song about self-reflection and looking at how life is coming along, and maybe perhaps doing a bit of an introspective check into your life and seeing that maybe perhaps some things have been wrong, but you still have hope for things that are going to work out, even when you feel like you're going to cry tears, which is Lia Machozi. But nonetheless, our show is, on this particular show, we shall be looking into, we shall be using these particular notes. Let me share them with you on the screen so you can see the notes that I get to share right here on the screen. Last week, we were learning about the differences between English and Swahili, and we did say that there are major differences between the two languages. For example, for English, for Swahili, we did say that we have only 5 vowels, and it has only 5 vowel sounds in contrast to the 22 in English. And we did say that the 5 vowels, you can use your palm like this, raise up your hand like this, use your palm, and say this is A, E, O, U. So those are the 5 vowels. And in English, we also do say that you have 24 consonants in English, while Swahili has more than 24 consonants. It has more than 28. When you look at all the letters of the English alphabet, apart from the vowels, we have also what we call the special class of consonants. And the special class of consonants have always remained us. One of the most basic words that has a special class of consonant is the word chakula. The word chakula has a CH, and the CH is also found in a special class of consonant. Chakula means food. Someone might say, ninataka chakula. If they say ninataka chakula, it means I want food. I want food. If someone says, ninataka chakula kidogo, it simply means I want a little food. So therefore, the CH in that particular chakula, it is a special class of consonant because it puts together 2 consonants, C and H. And we also do have the special class of consonant, which is G and H. For example, in the word garama, G-H-A, garama, G-H-A-R-A-M-A, garama, that is also another special class of consonant because it is G and H. We also do have T and H, for example, in the word thelathini. If someone says thelathini, and that means 30. And if you don't have your 2 upper front tooth, then it means that you might not be able to say thelathini. I was looking at someone like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, I think at some point he lost his 2 front teeth, upper teeth. So therefore, if you tell Mike Tyson to say thelathini, the tongue rolls off on your 2 front teeth, upper teeth. So you say thelathini. And if you don't have your teeth, you don't have all your teeth, then you might not be able to say the word thelathini. But thelathini has 2 a special class of consonant, TH. So thelathini, that is the way you do say it. It means 30. It means 30. If you're talking about a third, you would say theluthi. So you also need your 2 upper front teeth because you say theluthi. If you don't have theluthi, if you don't have your 2 front teeth, then you'll be saying something totally different. But that is, yes, we do have the special class of consonants. We also did say that Swahili, the speech alternates vowels with consonants and contains basically no clusters. So therefore, if you're talking about learning Swahili, you realize that in Swahili we do not have cluster consonants. The only cluster we actually do not have any cluster consonants. So for example, you also realize that in Swahili, words do not end with a consonant, they can only end with a vowel. Words do not end with a consonant, they can only end with a vowel. And we have the 5 vowels. I did say the 5 vowel is A, E, O, U. So you can use your palm, you can use your hand like this to represent the 5 vowels in Swahili. And I was just saying that when you talk about the vowels, you have to remember that some of those particular vowels, they are very instrumental. For example, the vowel E. The vowel E can also be used to represent the second person. The second person when you're talking about inanimate objects. For example, inatingika, if you said inatingika, it means it's shaking. For example, you're talking about a table, and you said the table is not stable, it's actually shaking. You might say meza inatingika, So the vowel E is the English letter I. That is very, very important. The vowel E, the Swahili vowel E is the English letter I. So the vowel E is very, very important. The vowel A is also very important because the vowel A represents the first person singular. The second person singular. The second person singular is he or she. He or she, or you can say yeye. Yeye anakula chakula. So anakula chakula, you do find that that vowel A is used to represent him or her, and you can say nakula chakula. Anakula chakula simply means he or she is eating food. If we did say anaandika kitabu, then that means he or she is writing a book. So the vowel A is the English letter A. The Swahili vowel A is the English letter A. And therefore, if someone says anataka chakula, it means he or she wants food. If someone says anaimba wimbo, it means he or she is singing a song. If someone says anapika chakula kitamu, anapika, the vowel A in that regard is used to represent the second person singular, and therefore that would be anakula, anapika chakula kitamu. A is also equated to yeye. Yeye means he or she. In the Swahili language, you get to realize that Swahili language, in the context of the pronouns, it is not gender specific. So if someone says anapika chakula kitamu, you will not know whether you're talking about a he or whether you're talking about a she. And someone might ask, why is Swahili not gender specific when it comes to, the pronouns? For me, I think maybe perhaps in the way the Bantu community lived. Maybe the man and the woman, they had an equal place. They were not necessarily equal, but they complemented each other. So there was no need to be specific, whether it is a he or it is a she. But you do say anapika chakula, which means he or she is cooking food. So the vowel A, very, very important. The vowel E, very, very important. For example, if you do say ndege inapeperuka hewani, ndege inapeperuka hewani, it means that the bird is actually flipping its wings on the sky. So the vowel E, very, very important. The vowel A, very, very important. The other vowel, which is very, very, very important, is the vowel U, which is the English, the Swahili vowel U is the English letter U. The vowel U represents the second person as well. It represents the second person, singular. So if you're talking about you want food, I would say u nataka chakula. U nataka chakula. So let me just put it down. The three vowels that I'm talking about, very, very important. The vowel A, which is the English letter A, the vowel E, which is the English letter I, and the vowel U. Those are the three vowels that I'm talking about for today. And I am saying these vowels are very, very important. I do not underestimate the importance of the other two vowels. The other two vowels are A. A is also a very, very important vowel, the vowel A. But the vowel that features prominently in sentences, in conversations, these are the main, the A, E, and U. So if you're talking about unataka chakula, then that means you want food. So the vowel U can be equated to you, the vowel U can be equated to you, and this is the second person singular, the second person singular. For example, unaenda wapi? Unaenda wapi is simply a question to ask, where are you going? Where are you going? So the U will be for you, will be U, unaenda wapi. Unaenda wapi, that simply means where are you going? So the U becomes very, very important. I said you can use your palm, raise your palm like this. You can represent the five vowels, which is the A, the E, the E, the O, and the U. So those are the five vowels. So for the purpose of the context that we are talking about here, the most important out of the three, the most important out of the five is the U, the A, and the E when you talk about representing people or representing things. For example, if you're talking about a thing, like a dog is not it's a living thing. A dog is a living thing. So you might say, mbwa inabweka. Mbwa inabweka. So the E is not English letter E. The E happens to be the vowel I. So that happens to be the vowel I. So for our focus today, we are talking about the A, we're talking about the E, and we're talking about the U. The U can represent the second person singular. Unakunywa chai, unaandika kitabu, unaenda kazini, unaketi chini. So for the U, that is how it is used. But nonetheless, we've also talked about the consonants. So the vowels and the consonants, we have the vowels, and then we have the consonants. For the consonants, I have said that we have the special class of consonants. And I have said the Latini, the Luthi, TH, GH, GH. We have talked about NZ with an apostrophe. The NZ with an apostrophe is a special class of noun, although it is not very, very popular. The only word that has a special class of consonant, the NZ, for example, in the word ng'ombe, ng'ombe. If you talk about the consonant, these are the special class of consonants in Swahili. So if you're talking about the word ng'ombe, ng'ombe is a cow. If you're talking about ninataka kununua ng'ombe, then that will be I want to buy a cow. You know, maybe you're in a dairy farming, you're into dairy farming, and you want to buy a cow, then you say nataka kununua ng'ombe. But ng'ombe is a word, let me just put it down. Ng'ombe, NG with an apostrophe, NC with an apostrophe. Ng'ombe, ng'ombe, that means a cow. It means a cow. Simply means a cow. It means a cow. But very few words that have the NZ with an apostrophe. The other word that comes to mind that has an NZ with an apostrophe, that happens to be sengenge. Sengenge, sengenge means a barbed wire. Sengenge, sengenge, sengenge. NZ with an apostrophe, sengenge. Sengenge, that means barbed wire. Barbed wire. And that is the other word that comes to mind. Apologies, we had a bit of a hit with our connectivity. I was just saying that we do have the 5 vowels in Swahili, and our focus was really on 3 of them. And I've talked about the vowel A, the vowel E, and the vowel U. Those are the 3 vowels that we shall focus on. So I was talking about the vowels. They are very, very important. The A, the E, the E, the O, and the U. Once again, I do not want to lose track of the line of thought. So these are the 5 vowels. Let me put them on the screen so that you can see. Let me put them on the screen so that you can see. Remember, you can always interject. You can ask any question. You can also engage with me regarding your thoughts on the language. We always do say that we have so many beautiful languages on the continent. If you transverse the continent and go from Morocco and all the way down to South Africa, or from the east of Africa, all the way to Senegal, you realize that we have so many beautiful languages on the continent. And this particular week, I happened to come across a very, very important community, and I was thinking about their languages. Because if you go into Rwanda, there are three different communities. And if you know about the history of the genocide in Rwanda in 1994, then you know about the two communities. There were predominantly two communities involved. There were the Hutus and there were the Tutsis. And there is also another third community, which is known as the Twa. So if we're talking about languages, then you would have three different languages: the Hutus speaking a different language, the Tutsis speaking a different language, and also having the Twa. But if you look closer into the Tutsis, if you look closer into the Tutsis of the Rwanda, we also do have another different group that stems all very, very closely related to the Tutsis. And this is known as the Banyamulenge. The Banyamulenge in which is, they are from both the DRC and they are also from Rwanda, because before we did have these scramble for Africa, where Africa was partitioned. We did not have countries as we have them today. So when there was a partitioning of Africa, you would find the one community, for example, the Maasai community. When the country was, the borders were actually drawn. So we have the Maasais of Kenya and we have the Maasais of Tanzania, and they used to, live. We were borderless before 1884 Berlin Conference. That was mainly, it was borderless. But then again, you have to think about all these different languages and all these different ethnic groups. There are so many of them, and there are close to 2,000 languages on the continent. Very, very many, over 1,500 languages. And you realize that the more you travel or the more you interact with people, the more you realize that most of these languages, you cannot even make out what is going or what is, you cannot even understand what is going on with what they are saying. So you're left wondering, what are they talking about? But we have chosen Swahili because Swahili is relatively easy to understand. Swahili is very, very easy and fun. If you're looking for an easy language, even on Duolingo app, if you go to your app, which is Duolingo app or duolingo.com, and you're trying to find a language which is quite easy to understand, then I think Swahili is basically the language for you. Please make it Swahili. Please make sure that you are engaging yourself every other time with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family members, whomever. You're engaging yourself to learn this beautiful language. So on the screen, I've shared with you the 5 vowels: A, E, O, U. The vowel A is the English letter A. The vowel E is the English letter E. The vowel E is the vowel E is the English letter E. The vowel E is the English letter I. The vowel O is the English letter O. And the vowel U is the English letter U. For the purpose of our learning today, we have focused on 3 vowels. These 3 vowels are the vowel A, the vowel E, and the vowel U. Those are our focus. Those are the focus for today. So we are saying that the vowel A Apologies. I was just saying that for the purpose of our learning today, we pick on three vowels out of the five. And this is the vowel R. And the vowel R, I was saying that it represents the second person. The second person. In the second person for the pronouns, we use yeye. Yeye simply means he or she. If we do say nakula chakula, the vowel and we did use it in the phrase anakula. Anakula simply means he or she is eating. So let me put it down. Let me put it like this. Nakula, anakula. It means he or she is eating. That he or she is eating. So if you say nakula, you have used the vowel to point to him or her. You have used the vowel to point to him or her, and therefore that is simply the way you understand. You can understand it to be he or her, he or she is eating. He or she is actually eating. If you talk about maybe wa nakula, the syllable wa, which is also the syllable wa would represent would represent them. The syllable wa would represent them or they. The syllable wa would represent them or they because this is in the second person, the second person plural. So if you do have a question up to that particular point, please ask. If you do have a question up to that particular point, please ask. We would love to engage and respond to your question. If you do have a question, please ask up to that particular point about the vowels. If you wish to ask a question, please do ask. If you wish to ask a question, please ask. Kindly ask any question. Yes, once again, if you do have a question, please ask. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza, and I will be more than glad to respond to your question regarding the vowels. And these are the basic parts of a language. Any language, you have to have the vowels and the consonants. And I have said these are the five vowels. When we talk about the consonants are all the letters of the English alphabet, apart from X and Q, and also apart from what we do have right now as on your screen. That is exactly what you do have as the vowels. So if you do have the consonants, if you do have a question, please ask. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. It will be very, very important that I'm able to get your question, and it will be very, very important that you ask your question, that I may be able to respond to you. These are our notes. If you want to get a copy of the notes, please let me know. I will send you a copy of the notes. We realize that Swahili and English, they have a very, very different systems of word stress. Whatever we stress in terms of the utterances in Swahili is different from what we stress in English. So in Swahili, the typical intonation pattern is actually very, very different. The typical intonation pattern is very different. So we do have the differences, and that is what I was trying to help you understand, that the intonation patterns are very, very different. Also, the word stress, the systems of word stress are very different. Also in Swahili, all utterances and syllables, they end in a vowel sound. So there is that difference. So if we look at the vowels being used in simple common words, the vowel A would be used in the word, for example, andika. Andika in Swahili, it means to write. Andika in Swahili, it means to write. The vowel A can be used, which is the English letter E, it can be used, for example, in the word endelea, endelea. So if someone says, unaendelea aje, unaendelea aje, endelea means to continue. So it means they are asking, how are you faring on, or how are you continuing? So the vowel A can also be used in the example of eleza, eleza. So if someone might say eleza, they mean explain. If someone says eleza, they mean explain. So I would say, for example, ninataka, which is I want, kueleza. Kueleza, it means to explain. Kueleza, it means to explain. So if someone says kueleza, it means to explain. The vowel E can be used in the example inuka. For example, inuka juu means rise up. The vowel O can be used in the example ondoka. For example, ondoka sasa. Ondoka means leave. The vowel U can be used, for example, in the word ugua, and therefore you might say ugua means to ail. Someone might be ailing from something. You might say anaugua malaria or anaugua this and that disease. That is exactly how it is. You might talk about maybe other examples. You might talk about other examples. Apologies, I apologize for the noise. But I was saying, you might talk about other examples. For example, in the word ogopa. Ogopa, this is the vowel O, but you have to say ogopa. And ogopa simply means fear. If someone was to ask, unaogopa nini, it means they are asking, what are you fearing? What are you fearing? If someone was to say, uliza, if someone was to say uliza simply means ask. So therefore, if I was to tell you uliza swali, then it means ask a question. If someone says, for example, they were to tell you, igiza simply means to act. Igiza, it simply means to ask. So if we did say igiza, then that is understood to be to act something. And that is exactly how it works. But also, you might have another example of the word. You might have another example of the word ingia. Ingia. If someone says ingia, it means get in, all, welcome inside. Ingia. Ingia means get inside, all, and get inside. For example, you visited a friend, and if you visit someone, you knock on their door, and I was teaching us last week that there is a verbal knock in Swahili. You can say hodi, which is H-O-D-I, hodi, and that is like a verbal knock. It's like you're knocking on someone's door. If you did approach someone's door at their home, and you said hodi when you're at their doorstep, then that is like a verbal knock. It's known. They know that you're knocking on the door or you want to get inside. So the owner of the house would say ingia. Then ingia is a word which has the vowel E, which is the English letter I. The Swahili vowel E is the English letter I. I might say ingia. Ingia, then that would be come inside or get inside. Ingia. If someone is telling you ondoka, ondoka simply means leave. Ondoka is the opposite of ingia. It means leave. So someone might say ingia sasa or ondoka sasa. Sasa is simply means to make an emphasis, and sasa is for right now. Sasa simply means right now. Sasa, it simply means right now. So if someone says ingia sasa, then it's understood to be get inside or just get inside right now. So what I'm saying is the vowel E in English is the English letter I. Or the Swahili vowel E is the English letter I. So therefore I might say ingia. And if I did say ingia, if someone was knocking on your door and he said ingia, Ingia simply means get inside. Get inside. It means get inside. Get inside. Get inside. If you're talking about ondoka, another different vowel, the vowel O, the Swahili vowel O is the English. It's the English letter O. For example, in ondoka, ondoka it simply means to leave. Ondoka it simply means to leave. So if someone says ondoka, it means leave. And I was just trying to explain to you that if someone put the word sasa as a prefix, sorry, as a suffix for any verb, not a suffix really, but after any verb, then it means now. It means now. S-A-S-A, it means now. For example, if someone says ondoka sasa, they mean leave now. Leave now. If someone says ingia sasa, it simply means get inside now. If someone says twende sasa, twende means let's go. Twende is like a phrase. Twende is like a phrase. It means let's go. It means let's go. Twende, it means let's go. So if someone says twende sasa, it simply means let's go right now. Let's go right now. Twende sasa. And that is exactly how you would put it across. So if you have a question, please ask regarding the vowels or regarding the consonants, because those are the basic parts of any language. I have said our focus for today is on three of the vowels. And these three vowels are A, Al, E, and U. Let me just share them on the screen again, which are our focus. The ones in capitals. These are our focus for today. And the reason they are our focus for today, it is because they are very, very important vowels, because they are also used in terms of pronouns. So if we talk about A, that is a pronoun for the first person, for the second person singular. For the second person singular, you might say anataka chakula, it means he or she wants food. You might say anaimba wimbo, it means he or she is singing a song. You might say anaitwa Spikes. If someone says anaitwa Spikes, it means he or she is known as Spikes. He or she is known as Spikes. If you do say analia sana, it means he or she is crying. If you do say anafuraha sana, it means he or she is happy. And that is why the vowel A is one of the most important, very, very important. The vowel U is also very important. It is on your screen. It is the English letter U. The vowel U is very important because the vowel U represents the second person singular. It represents you. For example, I might be represented by the syllable ni, but for you, you'll be represented by the vowel U. For example, utakula nini? If someone was asking utakula nini, which is a vowel U, then said utakula nini, they are asking what will you eat? What will you eat? What will you eat? That is exactly what they are asking. What will you eat? What will you eat? So if someone says nitakula, if for example that is someone was asking utakula nini, then I would respond and say nitakula ugali na samaki. Then that would be I'll have ugali and fish. Or I might say nitakula chapati na nyama, which is I'll have chapati and beef or something. But the vowel O represents you. So it's the second person. The first person is I, the second person is you. In the singular, that is you. But if you're talking about the second person in the plural, then you would say wa. Or you would say You might say mtakula nini. Mtakula nini is for the plural. So mtakula nini is what will you eat, but for the plural sense of it. If I'm asking that to a group, I would ask mtakula nini. And that is exactly how you would respond and say to takula. So now I would have to go into explaining the syllable tu. The syllable tu means we. The syllable tu means the syllable tu. It means we. Let's say tu takula nyama. It means we shall eat meat, or we shall eat this and that. And that is exactly how it is explained. So any question, if anyone has a question, please ask. I will be happy to respond to you. And I was giving some examples of words that some examples of words that get to use the R and the E. So for the vowel E, I almost forgot. For the vowel E, that is the English letter I. For example, in the word inuka, inuka means to rise. Inuka means to rise. Inuka means to rise. It means to rise. So the Swahili vowel E is the English letter I. So the vowel E, you might say inuka. You might also say igiza. Igiza simply means to act. E, this is E, is a letter I. So ingia would come in. I gave an example of ingia. I'll give an example of inuka. I've given an example of igiza. Igiza simply means to act. So those are some of the examples that use the vowel E. The vowel E. The vowel E, when it comes to pronouns, it can be used to represent the second person, but this is mostly for inanimate objects or non-living things. Non-living things. For example, ndege inapeperuka. Ndege is a bird. Sorry. Yeah, actually, ndege is a bird. Ndege has two meanings. You can have a bird which is a bird, but you can also talk about ndege for an aeroplane. A plane is also known as ndege. So if someone says ndege inapeperuka angani, that means a bird is flying in the sky. Or ndege also means a plane, an aeroplane. So if someone says ndege inapeperuka angani, you might not know whether they're talking about a bird or whether they're talking about a plane. But anyhow, that's a funny part of us. Well, sometimes people are talking about things you have no idea what is going on. For example, if someone says anaenda nyumbani, represents he or she. It represents yeye. Yeye is a pronoun for the second person singular. Yeye anaenda nyumbani. So you might not know whether it is a he or a she. But Swahili is rather interesting. You have to be involved with the culture, because a language is a doorway, is a gateway to a culture. So if you want to know more about a culture, one of the ways in which you can know more about a culture is simply by exploring the language and knowing what it is about the language. You do not have to be an anthropologist to know that a language is evolving, a language is a dynamic thing, a language is not a static thing, a language keeps on changing. There are new words that are introduced to a language, and there are some words in a language that become archaic or they become extinct, and therefore things change. In that regard, you might think, oh, there are new words that are adopted into a language. For example, with technology, technology changes. So the way technology changes, we might have new words. For example, AI. AI is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, we call it mtindo bandia. So there are new words, there are new things that come up. For example, technology that were not there. For phone, we call it rununu. And the way, even for some things themselves, for example, technology, we do not have really a word for technology in Swahili. We do say ubunifu wa kiteknolojia, that is innovation. Ubunifu wa kiteknolojia. Technologia is really just technology, but now into Swahili you can just say technologia. There are other words, for example, what do you call them? There are some words which we do not really have Swahili words for them, and therefore we can only twist. But nonetheless, to say the least, is that Swahili is actually changing, and we would say that at the end of the day, it's very, very important that we keep on understanding and seeing how this Swahili is changing, and also to understand some of these dynamics in the Swahili language. And it is also very, very important that we also get to engage you, the learner, in just getting to appreciate these particular facts. So that you are able to see how different is Swahili today from the way it used to be a couple of years ago. Swahili is spoken, mainly spoken in East Africa, in Kenya, Uganda, and also in Tanzania, as well as Rwanda, and also in Burundi and in the DRC Congo. with over 180 million speakers on and off the continent. So if you're looking about the most prolific language on the continent, this happens to be Swahili, and it is also very, very important that you get to understand that it is very, very much important for you to adopt it as a language of communication in terms of a leisure, in terms of a business. If you're trying to go to Tanzania and you want to conduct business there, we say that you want to know about they call the money. Money is known as a shilingi or pesa. If we're talking about buying, we would say nunua. Nunua simply is the verb for buying. If you're talking about selling, you would say uza, U-Z-A. This is a word with the vowel U. We have uza, uza. So if you're talking about uza, which is selling in action, the verb in action is kuuza, kuuza. So for any verb, when you're talking about or want to represent it in a sentence as a verb in action, then you have to put the syllable. You just have to put the syllable ku, and then it becomes kuuza. It becomes kuuza. Any question? If someone has a question, please let me know. If you do have a question, please let me know. If you do have a question, please let me know. Even as we get to understand better the language. Does anyone have a question? Kunaye aliye na swali? Does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a question? If you do have a question, uliza. Kama uko na swali, uliza. If not, it's still fine. But if you do have a question, please go ahead. Please go ahead and ask. It is very, very important that I get to understand your question, and I will be able to respond to you, and I'll let you know. Much better, so that I can help you understanding of this beautiful language of Swahili. If anyone has a question, please ask regarding the vowels, and also regarding the consonants, regarding the verbs, and also regarding the consonants. Regarding the verbs and the consonants, anyone with a question, please ask. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. I was saying the vowels are 5, but for the sake of our class for today, we were focusing on 3 of them. The one is inuka. Inuka means rise. So inuka sasa means simply enter. It means to simply enter, and that is exactly how you get to use those particular examples. The consonants, they are all the letters of the English alphabet apart from X and Q, and also apart from these 5 vowels. So those make up the consonants in Swahili, and that is simply what you just need to understand. All the letters of the English alphabet apart from X and Q, apart from these ones that I'm showing you on the screen, all the others, they are Swahili consonants. But for these for X and Q, realize that Swahili does not have X and Q, and therefore, and also realize that there are no words in Swahili there are no words in Swahili that end with a consonant. No words in Swahili. Let me just put that down. No words in Swahili. Swahili that end with a consonant. Consonant. So it's a Bantu language. There are no words in Swahili that end with a consonant. All the words in Swahili, they simply end with a vowel. For example, andika, kitabu, chakula, meza, zunguka, imba, ruka, jina, tembea, all these particular any words that you can think about in Swahili, all those particular words, they end with the vowel sound. Sorry, they end with the vowel sound. They do not end with a consonant. You know, it's different, for example, from English. You know, English, a word like sing, it ends with a consonant. A word like jump, it ends with a consonant. A word like read, you know, these are the words. In Swahili, you will never have any word that ends with a consonant. All of them, they end with a vowel from whatever word you might think about. Chakula, mchungi, maji. For example, maji is water. So you're talking about nipe maji. Nipe maji is give me water. If one says nipe maji tafadhali, they simply are saying, please give me water. Nipe maji tafadhali. If you're asking them for food, you would say nipe chakula tafadhali. If you're asking them for money, you would say nipe pesa. Pesa is for money. If you're asking for a phone, you would say nipe simu. If you're asking for whatever you're asking for, you realize that all the words in Swahili, none of them ends with a consonant. All of them happen to end with a vowel sound, and therefore it makes it very, very easy for you to have a taste of this particular language with a whole lot of simplicity and ease when it comes to learning the language. It's not difficult. You just need to keep practicing, and we say practice makes perfect. If you want to get a copy of these particular notes, please write to me, blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com, blackhotfireafrica, Africa at gmail.com, and I will be more than glad to share with you those particular notes. Please write to me, blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com, and I will be more than glad to share with you the notes. Just write to me at blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com, and just write notes, send me notes or something. I will know that you are interested in getting the notes, and that is what I will do right there. So anyone with a question? Nani aliye na swali? Kama hamna swali ni sawa, lakini kama uko na swali unaweza uliza. If you have a question, you can ask. If not, I understand. You can always feel free to also write to me an email asking any question regarding our classes, or asking about an explanation or a clarification or anything that you might have heard here but you did not quite understand what it meant. I will be more than glad to just expound on more on the same. And you can also refer to Duolingo app. Duolingo app. It is a very, very important resource, and you can also check into the archives of some of our classes that we have actually had right here on the Black HotFire. Just search for Saturday Swahili class or search for Sunday Swahili class, because we are here every Saturday and Sunday. Then you will be able to find a copy of those particular notes, and it will help you very, very much in terms of you helping understanding your question. Very soon we shall also have a trivia on another different episode where we shall ask you questions, and those are just questions to help you understand and get better in the language itself, which is also very, very important, that you also get to understand and learn more with us as the Black HotFire Network. So if you have a question, tafadhali uliza. Kama uko na swali, kama huna swali ni sawa. Kama simply, kama means if. Kama means if. Kama it means if. Kama it means if. So if I do say if, kama uko na swali, if I do say kama uko na swali tafadhali uliza, then that simply means if you do have a question, please ask. If you do have a question, please ask regarding anything that you get to learn right here on the Black HotFire Saturday Swahili class. Kama uko na swali tafadhali uliza, na kama huna swali bado ni sawa. Sawa means okay. Sawa means okay. So bado ni sawa, which means it is still fine if you do not have a question. It is still fine with me, but I wish that you did have a question, because I will be able to answer you, and you might be able to get better in your Swahili. Please practice it with your family, with your colleagues, with your cousins, with your friends, with whomever you find time and opportunity to practice Swahili with, please make sure that you learn with them, because Swahili is a language. Any language, you have to learn it with people, because it is a mode of communication and you're communicating with people. So it is very, very important that you practice with them so that you get better with the language. Shall take a break, but make sure you keep it Swahili class right here with the Black HotFire.